What's up everybody? I'm Matt from SBFishingTV here with Karl's Bait and Tackle. Today we're going to be taking a look at a few different finesse fishing techniques. So I've got a few different worms from Karl's Bait and Tackle, which I use pretty much all year long, and the beauty of these is that you can really fish them in so many different ways and styles. So the only one that's a little bit more limited in how you fish it is going to be the dream shot, and I find that this works best on a drop shot. If you guys fish this any other way, let me know down in the comments section below. But this is like a 4-inch drop shot bait from Strike King, and it just looks amazing down in the water. This is one of my favorite drop shot baits of all time. The way that this tail tapers down and then it widens back up just gives the bait a perfect amount of action. And it's just a small profile, really good when the fish are being finicky or if you're dealing with cold water situations like most of us are. So after the dream shot, we have Karl's Amazing Baits Waggle worm. This is another really cool finesse worm. It's like a stick bait styled worm. You can fish this on a drop shot, you can fish it on a shaky head, wacky rig, Nico rig. You could even throw it on a Texas rig if you wanted. Today we're probably going to be throwing this around on a Nico rig. We're going to be sticking to the finesse techniques. So the Waggle worm is a 5.8-inch stick bait styled worm. And again, we're going to be fishing this around on a Nico rig. So basically, when I decide to either fish something on the bottom or something more like a drop shot is going to depend on water clarity and really just what the fish are reacting to. I'm always going to try to let them tell me what they want. Another worm we have here from Googan Baits, this is the Slim Shake. So I've done really well on this bait, and it's a great finesse worm. I personally love throwing this on a shaky head. There is probably nothing else that I think it does better on, but I mean, you could still drop shot if you wanted, if you want a little bit bigger profile, if you think you're targeting bigger fish that are being a little finicky. But again, shaky heads with the Slim Shake is the way to go. Let's take a look at some of the hardware that we got from Shop Karl's. So we're going to be throwing a lot of these around on a wacky rig and drop shot hook from Stickies. This is a 1/0 drop shot hook, and last but not least, we have a couple different drop shot weights. So we have two different styles. We have the cylindrical style drop shot weights. I've always recommended fishing these around grass because it's going to come through it a little bit easier. It's not going to get as stuck as something like a round weight or the egg-shaped weight. Now that we've taken a look at all of these baits and some of the hardware, we're going to get up, try to catch a couple of these cold water fish. I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait for spring. All right, we're going to rig this drop shot up real quick. Taking the Stickies drop shot hook, tying a Palomar knot. You want to make sure you leave enough tag end on there so you can leave enough space for the drop shot weight to go on. Wet the line good. Make sure the knot's all right. One more thing you want to always do, stick that tag end through the eye of the hook so it stands straight out like that. So after you get your hook on there, you want to throw on your pure tungsten weight. I'm going to start with the 1/8 ounce egg drop shot weight. You just slide that through. And once you get your weight on, you're going to take your worm. I'm going to start with the dream shot. And I like to just sneak the hook up under the bait to the nose. Keeps it a little weedless. We're basically just working it in the 6 to 8 foot range around. There's an underwater point here. There's a couple of steep drop offs. But you can fish this around docks, you can fish it on bluff walls, you can fish it pretty much anywhere. And I love fishing a drop shot, especially in clean water. And I find that it actually does really well when you're not catching anything on the bottom. The fish may not be reacting to baits that are pushed up on the bottom or making too much commotion, and they just want something right in their face, just subtly sitting there. I find that's where the drop shot works out best. I'm throwing this on a 7-foot medium light. I've got 15-pound braided line to a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader, and that's pretty much how I run my spinning setup. You save a lot of money as far as line goes because you can get one spool and you can just put 10-foot leaders on there, which is what I usually do, and that can last you 20 or 30 trips. Since I only have one spinning rod with me today, the other baits I'm going to be throwing around on a 6'9" medium and 12-pound fluorocarbon. It's a bait casting setup, and it's perfectly fine to throw your finesse gear on a bait caster. It's just sometimes a little bit more difficult when you get down to the really light weights under an eighth. Even an eighth sometimes can be pretty tough to throw around, but it still works really well. As far as this drop shot goes, I'm just casting it out and dragging it back to the boat, letting it pause every once in a while, letting it sit there, giving those fish a second to kind of examine that bait and come up and eat it. Also giving it shakes, just little hops here and there. But you really want to maintain bottom contact with that drop shot weight. You never want the weight to come off the bottom. Dream shot. Oh, wow. The beauty of finesse fishing, boys. Catch fish of all sizes. Look at this. He's about double the size of the worm. Okay. Well, that just goes to show that this Sticky's hook does a good job. Catch big fish and small. Land of dinks. But you know something I've been saying a lot, especially in this super cold winter, fish is a fish. We're gonna switch it up. Go with the Nico rig and the Waggle worm. A little bit bigger profile. See if we can get something a little bigger. So with this Nico rig, I'm literally doing the same thing as the drop shot, just trying to maintain bottom contact. When you give little hops to the bait, it just makes the tail wiggle. And what's really cool is it stands straight up too. Just giving it really small drags and hops, trying to maintain bottom contact. If you get stuck, or you know, every once in a while, it's cool just to give the bait a little pop like that so it does come off the bottom. But you really want to keep it down there as much as possible. What were you doing back there, buddy? Drop shot. We were throwing the Nico rig around with the Waggle worm for a while. Didn't have any action. The tide's falling, the water's getting shallower. So we're gonna switch up to a weightless Waggle worm. And you can see that the fall when this is weightless is significantly slower. It's gonna give the fish a lot more time to see it. And what I like about this is it has a sweet undulating movement to it. That Waggle worm looks good. Dink City. There we go. Oh, for all the small fish I've been catching, this one feels like a freaking stud. Oh, he crushed it too. Absolutely hammered it in the tongue. Pretty fish though. Waggle worm way down there. All right, you guys, it's not the biggest fish, but it's probably about 1.5 pounds. Beautiful fish on the Waggle worm. It's definitely a cool technique you guys should try out. But we're gonna let this guy go. Biggest fish of the day. See ya. Something I really like about the Slim Shake is you can fish it all year long. I mean, it's probably one of my highest catch rates as far as baits go in the summertime. I love fishing deep points and deep docks and stuff like that with the Slim Shake on like a shaky head, or even on a Texas rig. Normally I'm gonna throw it on a shaky head or on the Ned head. I mean, if I were to count all the fish I've ever caught, this styled bait is probably the top fish catcher. So we're gonna talk about fishing the Slim Shake on a shaky head. That's, again, the majority of how I fish it. And as far as how fast I'm working it, it all depends on what the fish want. Usually I'm fishing it pretty slow, even in the summer. Like when the water gets really warm, I catch a ton of fish just dragging this thing on the bottom. I mean, you know, move it 3 feet and then just let it sit there for 30 seconds. And that works really well in the winter too. Spring, you can work it a little bit faster. I think the fish are just getting a little bit more active. They're looking around for food, they're hungry, they want to eat. But generally, winter and summer, I'm gonna just work this thing slow. All right, you guys, that's gonna be it for me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video on finesse fishing and a couple different techniques that I like to use. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite finesse fishing technique is. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on Karl's mystery tackle box. I'll catch you on the next one.